Cannonball Prairie, Manhattan Marsh, Swan Creek or Pearson, Glass City, Westlands, Farnsworth, Blue Creek, and Howard Marsh, Oak Openings, Wiregrass Lake, Toledo Botanical Gardens, Fallen Timbers, Battlefield, or Middle Grounds, Wildwood, Providence, and Secor, Benview Side Cut to explore. Park, Metroparks, sweet Metroparks, all seem to say visit today.
Thanks for downloading this special episode of the Metroparks Podcast. I am here hosting this by myself. Matt is out scouting locations of where the original Friday was made. But with me is Kim. Hi, Kim. Thanks for joining me on this special edition of the podcast where we will view a couple of our songs and holiday videos. Can you tell us a little bit about that first video that we just saw?
Yeah, I would love to. As a matter of fact, that came kind of after I had approached a very good friend of my family, Mark Owen, who is a Toledo musician, and he had helped me put together an arrangement of what we call the Carol of the Metroparks to the song Carol of the Bells. And we had spent quite a bit of time putting that arrangement together. And about 3 or 4 weeks or so after, he sent me this little movie that said, hey, by the way, I was looking at the website. He's a big Metroparks fan. Yeah. And I was looking at the website, and I found pictures of all these places. And so I just used that same tune, but named off the 19 Metroparks on it. And so that's where that came from. So we have Mark Owen to thank for that, our Toledo musician.
Yeah, it's awesome, especially when you realize how many parks we have, and then you put them in something like that to be able to see, everyone loves looking at pictures and videos, right?
Yes.
So it was great to see that and to know that, we everyone's working together to make these things, know?
Right.
So Carol of the Metroparks, is that what it is, right?
That's what we call it, the Carol of the Metroparks, yes.
And how did that come about?
Well, way back in March, when nobody was really thinking of holidays, interpretive planning team, which is a really creative team here at the Metroparks that I sit on with Shannon Hughes and Karen Menard and Val Uhas and Marty Overholt, we thought, it would be nice to put a song together. These 19 parks that we have is really something that we want people to get excited about. So I began... I really like music. My mom was a music teacher. Mm-hmm. My dad had closets full of jazz albums, and I really like music. And so I began thinking of it, and it just kind of came to my head, hark Metroparks, sweet Metroparks, like that. And I started walking with that tune in mind and coming up with things. And I sent a few lyrics to the interpretive planning team, and they're like, oh, yeah, pursue it. So we pursued it, thinking that maybe it would be a more formal presentation come this season.
Sure.
But I also wrote it so that it can change to 20 to choose means you can't lose, or 21 to choose means you can't lose, because we're going to grow.
Sure.
So we can do this in future years with just changing a little bit of that song that you're going to hear. So that's how it began, and it also had a little bit to do with Karen Menard in that she is our stewardship manager, and a few years back for interpretive planning team, we had put together this strange little, I don't even remember much of the words, but she did this one that was a spoof on the 12 days of Christmas, and she did the 12 days of holidays. Metroparks gave to me a barred owl in an oak tree. And it goes on and on with the different things that the Metroparks has. So we now actually have 2 songs that in future holiday years we might be able to do something with, maybe have a roving caroling group or something fun with words that are Metroparks related words and yet fun holiday tunes that we all recognize. So that's really the most of the story behind this song that you're going to hear.
When I want to go back to the beginning, so when you guys first came up with this idea, let's have a song, was that the Carol of the Bells, was that the first thing that popped in your head and that was the one that stuck, or was there other ones that you that you were thinking about?
That was pretty much it.
Because that's amazing. That's amazing
Yeah.
to me. Where it's like, oh, this
Yeah.
first one is, and we nailed it.
Well, I thought to myself, what's my favorite holiday song? Because
Yeah.
they kind of all recruited me, and so I'm walking the trails, coming up with these lines like, oh yeah, Toledo Botanical gives reason for a garden visit every season. And I'm thinking, how am I going to get Toledo Botanical Garden in? But
Yeah.
that's what came out of it, because you
Wow.
can't get Toledo Botanical Garden in that song. It's just, there's nowhere it goes. And then I was like, okay, I'm down to all of them, except I think I still had, I think one of the last ones I got in was Middle Grounds, again, because it's, three
tough.
syllables.
Yeah, yeah.
And so we got that verse in the very end. One of my favorites that came to me in my sleep was the one that says...
That's dedication right there.
Yeah, well, and I
Writing
woke
in
up
your
and my husband says, what are you doing? And I'm like, you can plan a trip to Fort Miami's history and sweeping panoramas. And it was like, oh, yeah, what is going on
That's
here?
fun.
But so that one just came. Sometimes they did come in the middle of the night. I just come up with one.
Yeah.
And I've always loved music like that. We have a hugely musical family, and my mom taught music. She was the choir director at our church.
Nice.
And my dad had a huge sense of humor. And so I could just see my dad doing this history and sweeping panoramas, and like really cheesing it up.
Yeah.
So they just kind of came like that. And it came because I have I'm a very verbal oriented
Me
person,
too.
a lot of lyrics and things.
I know when I'm writing something or writing a speech I got to give or whatever, sometimes I can sit at the computer and be there and just stare at it. And I think the last speech I gave for my football team, I had 3 different ones I was thinking about, and then I just kept going back and forth, figuring out which one. And then one, I ended up with a lot more because it just started coming to me more and more and more.
Yes.
So once I start writing, then
Once you start, yep. And that's I used to teach writing, so that's something you might not know. But I have a master's in English, and I taught writing at the University of Toledo for a lot of years. And once you start, that's what you have to do, and you write it out, and then you go back and tell them what you're going to say. Once you have it down. So a lot of times my beginning would transform over and over and over.
Yeah.
And the people on interpretive planning, because we write all the little signs in the parks too. So if you're out looking at those dragonfly signs at Wiregrass Lake, or if you're out at Glass City looking at some of our new panels that we're putting in, those are things that go through interpretive planning team as well. And what that team knows about me is like I revise and revise and revise. There's no ending. I'm
Sure.
never really finished.
Okay.
And so we just have to land on it,
Yeah.
and say, this is what we're doing.
Someone has to tell you, all right, we're good.
Yeah, yep. And that works, I mean, that's how I do it. A lot of writers are like that, I guess. And I think kind of writing would have been my second calling if I didn't do my Metroparks job for all these years. So.
I really enjoy it, especially when I have a purpose to it.
Yeah.
That really makes it, I can put my feelings into things,
Yes,
so.
yes. And I really enjoy editing, too.
Yeah.
I love it when somebody gives me something.
Oh, okay.
And then I can help them, really make it powerful and make it shine. I love to do that, too.
Yeah. I had an English teacher in junior high who, like, she was really good and really was all about grammar. And there were several teachers like that at my grade school I went to, where I did the same way. Like, I really like grammar and I like writing. And if someone asked me, like, hey, look, like, same thing with you. Like, can you look at this for a minute? Oh, yes, I will, It's fun. So before we head up to the Adam Room here at the Manor House for the performance, who is involved in this performance today?
Well, we kind of recruited because we decided we wanted to do this at least as a podcast this year,
Sure.
and then maybe next year we'll do something more with it, maybe adapt it a little bit. So there's some irons in the fire on that. But so we just kind of reached out to people and asked who would want to. And so Russ Franzen was one of the first ones to offer. He is a musician that probably a lot of our audience has heard of because he's a Metropark program staff.
Oh, okay.
And he works out at the Providence, at the Ludwig Mill, and he works on the canal boat, and he's been here for a long, long time, and he actually sings a lot of songs that he's written himself about the Metro Parks. So he was interested right away. He actually sang this song that you're going to hear at the holidays at the Manor House on Saturday night.
Oh, wow.
But it was near the end of the night, and I think there were like 2 or 3 people in the room at the time. But I was really proud to hear that he sang it.
Yeah.
That made me really happy that it's being sung. And if any of our listeners get it in their heads, go sing it.
Yeah.
Please go sing it to the world. This is not something that we have, we're worried about any kind of patents on or
sure.
anything crazy like that. This is a fun song. So Russ was the first one to offer. And then we had a little bit of trouble because a few of our people that offered got sick at the last minute, and we're sorry to say. So I made some phone calls to a couple volunteers who had heard me back in March when I was rattling off some of these lyrics. And they had said to me, well, we'll help with that. And this was way back when, before we knew what was going to come of it. And so Diana and George were 2 volunteers that said, yeah, we want to help. And so I called them just a couple days ago, sent them the song. I mean, this was all really quick. And they practiced up. And they are total team players in the spirit of Metro Parks. And sure enough, they came to join us. So that was really exciting. And then I also reached out to the programming supervisors about who might be available. And Emily and Madison are 2 more programmers that like Christmas and like to sing and are always up for something fun.
Yeah.
And so they said, hey, we'll come and do it. And so they showed up today, which is really exciting. So we have all of those people helping to quote unquote perform this song for you.
And you and yourself will be in it?
Yeah, and myself. Yep. I mostly kind of filled in because we lost a few people at the last minute, and because those were kind of tricky words, some of the ones that I filled in.
That's all right. That's all right.
Yeah. But this was meant to be lighthearted, and it's meant to give people a sense of Christmas spirit, sense of Metro Park spirit, and a sense that we have 19 park nows, 19 Metro Parks. And then, because this song, if you listen closely, you'll hear the whole last verse is all the extras that we have, like Chessie Park. We walk the Chessie Trail, like the Wabash Cannonball, the bicycle, like Beach Ridge with the mountain biking. And so those are all in there, Brookwood. So we wanted to get some of those special sites in, too.
Yeah.
And so the whole last verse is about that.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, and it's I'm looking forward to it, and this is really the premiere of this song for anybody to see, right? To hear.
It kind of is, yeah.
So first of all, I want to thank you for allowing us to put it out there. This is really cool. I'm glad you emailed me about it because I'm really excited to hear the song, and thanks to all our singers and to Jake, our sound guy, for helping us today. He's the one who helps us with the podcast. Every time we put it out. So without further ado, the Carol of the Metro Parks, right?
Yes.
I always see it differently.
Carol,
in my head.
how do you see it? Because maybe we'll change that.
No, I don't know. I'm worried to like Carol. I don't know where it comes from worse. Anyway, so thanks again, Kim, for being on here.
My pleasure.
And I hope you all enjoy the Carol of the Metro Parks.
Park, Metro Parks, sweet Metro Parks, all seem to say visit today. 19 to choose means you can't lose. Which will you pick? Hurry, be quick. Our parks are calling as snow is falling, bringing glad tidings of outdoor joy. Wintertime brings so much to do. Ski or skate, hike, sled or snowshoe.
Park, Metro Parks, sweet Metro Parks, all seem to say visit today.
19 to choose means you can't lose. Which will you pick? Hurry, be quick.
Side Cut or Pearson, Wildwood or Westwood, Swan Creek, Glass City, Oak, Openings.
For the towpath on the Maumee River, Farnsworth, Bendview, Providence, deliver.
Park, Metro Parks, sweet Metro Parks, all seem to say visit today.
19 to choose means you can't lose. Which will you pick? Hurry, be quick.
Cannonball Prairie will make you merry, so will the views at Manhattan Marsh.
Toledo Botanical gives reason for a garden visit any season.
Park, Metroparks, sweet Metroparks, all seem to say visit today.
19 to choose means you can't lose. Which will you pick? Hurry, be quick.
Middle grounds, fallen timbers, battlefield, Howard Marsh, Blue Creek, or Wiregrass Lake.
Leads by way of Moseley Trail to Secor, through our globally rare plant corridor.
Park, Metroparks, sweet Metroparks, all seem to say visit today.
And when you've been to all 19, if you want more, you can explore.
Connelly Treehouse Village for glamping, or Chessie Circle Trail for a hike.
You can plan a trip to Fort Miami's, history and sweeping panoramas.
Brookwood for quiet holiday parties, Beach Ridge for fun on your mountain bike.
Wabash Cannonball is all clear for bicycling any time of year.
Last, don't forget the Manor House proper, holiday favorite and showstopper.
Park, Metroparks, sweet Metroparks, all seem to say visit today.
Park, Metroparks, sweet Metroparks, all seem to say visit today.
Park, Metroparks, sweet Metroparks, all seem to say visit today.
Visit today.